session at 10 a.m. tomorrow. We'll meet with the mayors, the health department, prosecuting attorney, come up with a plan of action to reopen all together. So
you say that's we, it's they, it's not, thou will meet with them.
That will.
Is that right?
I'll be representing the commission. Sue will be representing Williamstown. Jamie Couch is in for training. I'll get Will Couch. Judge Waters called me and asked if it would be appropriate if his kids worked the polls with his mom being on the back.
Robin is on ballot now.
Not appropriate. She's unopposed, right?
She's unopposed, but she's still on the ballot.
Okay.
She's still a candidate.
So we have an agenda.
Does this mean that Bob will be not allowed to verify the voter?
No, he still has to do his job.
He still has to do his job.
Still has to do his job, okay.
Like I did.
That's right, you did too.
Yeah, but a lot of,
But we locked you in the other room.
well, a lot of candidates, if it's a mixed race, well, and I don't mean it that way, if the race is contested, sometimes we'll stay away. In the past, like Rick Modison got a hotel room at the Blenny. Bob TV came in later that night once the race was decided. That tends to happen. I remember my first election, my mom was giving me updates every half hour when the results had come in, and all of a sudden I'm in Mineral Wells picking up signs that she won't call me back. And I go by Kohl's, and she still won't call me back. I pick up some signs there, and finally she called me. She goes, "You're down 300 votes." And I said, "I'm coming in. I know Gary's there. I'll come in and shake his hand." And when I got out of the truck in the parking lot, someone yelled at me, "You're a landslide." And I said, "What?" He said, "You won by 18 votes." So I was coming to the courthouse regardless, to shake my opponent's hand. Gary was a good, nice guy when we ran against each other. And Bob Buchanan called me the next day. Dave Arnold did not. Just saying, he thought he was winning. Okay, on our agenda, we're talking about the COVID response. We have just recently, by order of the health department, had some the hotspot designation removed. That still leaves us with some concern that we have abide by the health department's rules and regs. Groups of 25 or more outside, socially distant. We know the cities, the county are getting called out on our parks and our recreational facilities. Our response has been, we'll probably, from the county side, we'll probably follow the state park guide. When they decide to come back online, we'll unlock some gates. But until we get a health department clearance, I don't think we're gonna play much. We're blessed that we don't have a pool. Williamstown, Vienna, Parkersburg all have pools, and the guidance that they're receiving is very minimal. So whether you spend the money to open a pool that may not come online till July, that's a health department question. But I have received calls about that. We're here today to talk about the election.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
This, I know the health department is responsible for that, but is there anybody at the health department who is getting a day-by-day briefing on what they cannot do?
Chuck Whitaker and Eric Walker are talking to Kathleen Schlemp and Clay Marsh, but those two at the state level won't release anything in advance of Governor Justice. So Justice has his press conference every day, and then information is disseminated from that. So like when we said we wanted to be off the hotspot list, until the governor says it, we're still on. So he's got a lot of emergency of powers, and I think he's doing a hell of a job.
I do too.
I think if he started his press conferences on time, we'd be even better off. But that's just me.
I just would like for all of us in this county, cities, all of us, to be pretty proactive and immediately so we could do our jobs too, that's all. You know?
Yeah, we.
And also all merchants and everybody else who's closed down, so they have a better idea what's happening.
The governor's, you know, what the governor's giving us is limited. So Marty and I watched his press conference yesterday. I'll watch his press conference today. 4 o'clock, 4:30? 4:30. So he said he would announce on Mondays that we were in week whatever, and this is what's going to follow. I wish we had better. I mean, there's conference calls every day we can be on that don't give you any intel. So God love our AG and our treasurer and our auditor, but they don't have any.
They never have ever had any input.
No.
It's just a title and a position.
They do their job, and the code sets what they can do. Pat does his job based on code. Pat did forward me an order of the Supreme Court where they're going to loosen up, and that was May the what?
And then it seems the jury trials will not start till June 29th. Grand jury has its own schedule.
See, I looked at this. We've got to have things opened up by Election Day. I mean, we have to. Is he going to delay it again? Is there anything?
I got an email today, Blair, that Senator Capito has a call, but it doesn't say when. From the Association of Counties, so I don't know when that call is.
Capito had had a conference call with county. We got a summary. She's probably doing them once a week. But she's talking about the CARES Act, the money that's going to be sent from the feds on down.
She's also heavily involved in specialty monies that the government has sent out to small businesses and other things like that. Because I had a response from her saying that if you need some help, please get in touch with me.
Her office has been responsive. But you haven't heard any rumor of pushing the election further back?
No, sir, I have not. And I did ask the secretary when he was here a week or so ago about if he thought that the government may declare this just an all absentee ballot and not have an election day, and he said no. That neither the Secretary of State nor the governor was in favor.
So how can you have election on June 9th and yet not opening up certain things? It just doesn't make sense to me. You've got, and we're going to be early vote, every county will be early vote May 27th.
Yes.
So everything should be back, still socially distant. I think he releases everybody by then to go back in business and follow these guidelines. And then the Supreme's pushing jury trials till later in June, subject to change. But
Every day, you see more and more people out.
oh my God, yes.
More traffic. A lot of people in the parks. It's just amazing to me. It's not really amazing to me, but people are just tired of staying home. And our infectious rate around here has been really low.
Yeah. 42 confirmed cases. So the best I can tell from the health department emails I'm getting, we are not seeing community spread. We are not seeing somebody walk into Foodland, a Piggly Wiggly, and walk out, go home, and then come down with it and say, the only place I was at my sister's house, and the grocery store, and now I've got them. So the contact tracing is not finding like the common theme of somebody, all people went to Walmart and they came home.
All those parking lots are always filled.
They're all full.
So,
And the worst thing is, Todd's wearing a mask right now. I wear one when I go in, and I got my hair cut with a mask on yesterday. And the barber, the young lady that did it said, I didn't want to open, but if I don't open, then my customers will go somewhere else, and I won't have a business to come back to. But socially distancing, and we're seeing reports of people pulling guns on each other at a bank in Colorado. They were supposed to be socially distant, and someone was crowding them, so they pulled a gun. Then we saw people got shot in McDonald's because they wanted to eat in.
a road rage last night or so up around past the mall going to Vienna. So that, I mean, that has to be a carryover from what's happening everywhere.
And there's a lot of frustration.
A lot of frustration.
But the governor's right. If we try to do everything correctly, then we will all show up at the hospital farther apart, lower the curve. But we just don't have community spread here. It's always from travel or interaction with somebody that traveled. So we do know that there's residents of everywhere in Wood County that have contracted it. And then, of course, Jackson County, everybody comes here to the city of Vienna as a regional business area.
Mayor, is the mall open yet?
Only limited stores. Right now, there's only 3.
Can you walk into the mall?
No.
It's locked.
Yeah, you have
That's
to
what
go
I was
into
curious
set
about
up,
that.
there's limited access, yeah.
Okay.
You can go to Dunham's and buy some shotgun shells if you want, Jimmy.
And the bank and the post office are in. So,
Hey, we got recruited by Hertz to deliver for Party City. Now, we had a long discussion with the health department over this. What parties are we going to, and why are we having parties? But it's like we're delivering balloons and those kind of things for birthday. Everybody said, you can do flowers if you want. At the florists are open, but
I was part of a drive-by birthday party the other day.
wow.
There was about 18 cars in the procession. We all went and beeped our horns as we went by the house.
That's the kind of drive-by. Talking about the election, Mark, we're going to have discussion and probably Monday discuss opening of county buildings. Consider proposal of county clerk regarding precinct locations. So on the whiteboard, we did some notation. Election day is June 9th. Early vote will take place in this room beginning March 27th.
May 27th.
May 27th.
Because of that.
We lost a month.
We all have.
Our satellite locations will begin June 2nd, and those will be the Vienna Community Building, Williamstown Elementary, Mineral Wells School, is it an elementary?
It's an elementary.
And Lubeck Elementary. Those are the 4 with the potential of adding a 5th.
And I will check with WBUD about adding a location there.
Mark, were there were more places to vote before, weren't there?
We have 68 precincts altogether.
I guess what I'm saying is, is it possible to put a notice at the ones that you were there last year or the last election that this precinct, in order to vote, you have to go here?
Yes, we will post signs at every precinct, telling them telling them the locations of the early vote, where the voting sites are. We will have that on every precinct location.
That was
so
there
that people,
before.
if they do show up, if they don't get noticed some
So-
other way.
Are we with electronic poll books?
We are not with electronic poll books. Actually, I've thought about that, but my preferred model to use is the same as on election day, is the same that we use during early voting. We actually access the SBRS, and if you walk in to vote, you immediately get credit. And the reason I would prefer to use that at the satellite sites on election day is the same reason as, you know, our grades can't walk in, move back school and vote, and then run down here to downtown and vote again, because it's already gonna show you credit. It's live data.
But we're gonna have people be voting at the Vienna Community Building on the Parkersburg ballot.
Correct.
So every early vote location is every precinct.
Yes, sir.
And the discussion, the reason we've gone this way is because of concerns of poll workers.
Trying to train, my biggest concern's always been trying to train roughly 340 people. We normally do about 8 classes, 7 to 8 classes. In this room, we're looking at 50 people in this room when our guidelines say that we should only have 12. It's now up to 25, but before it was only 5. You know, so we do have poll workers that have either did not reply or just said no, they did not want to work.
And you'll have more drop as we get closer, I would imagine.
Correct. I mean, that's the reason we always train, we need 308 poll workers. We always try to train about 350.
So we're not gonna need that many with only 5 voting locations on election day, so.
Right, but I wanna make sure that staff.
Yeah, so you're thinking if you would do 150,
Probably.
30 per location?
And that's what I said, I wanna make sure it's staffed.
Well, then how are you voting the absentee ballots? Is that a scan or is that one by one read into a machine?
Actually, it is scanned, it's about, right now, they're just log back in that they've voted and they're setting on a shelf. And then we can actually start opening those up during early voting and scan those in to the machine, not tally them.
Right.
Just go ahead and get them pre-scanned so that they're.
So if we have any type of problem, we identify it early.
Correct. We already have some.
Mayor, what do you think about adding a ad to the paper, maybe the television, showing the precincts that are included in these satellite election spots?
That can be discussed.
Yes. Yes,
Hey Blair,
part of this is a legal notice.
It's in as a legal notice, Bob, but who's that, Dave?
no,
Steve.
it's, the sheriff.
Sheriff.
Hey, is there a possibility that Rose can get closer to the mic because we cannot hear what he's saying?
Social distancing. Here, I can put this in for you.
Marty's gonna move him a mic.
Thank you.
At these satellite voting places, are they gonna have a separate machine for different precincts, or the same machines handle all the precincts?
It will be, the same machines will have every precinct on it, just like early voting is now.
So the poll worker will guide you to your place to vote, and he or she will open up the voting machine to the precinct that you belong to.
Correct. When you go in, the poll worker is going to activate the machine. They're going to select the correct precinct and the correct ballot style, depending on how you register.
So therefore, all I will see as a voter is what I'm supposed to see.
Correct.
Okay, I wonder about that.
Yes. That's the way that's the way early voting's been set up. So it would be the same that way.
Generally, your poll workers are so helpful, you don't really know that, because you're just there and there you are, you know?
Yes.
Do you think we can have a demo maybe next Monday?
Yes, sir.
Bring a machine in, set it up over there. We're allowing media in since it's still socially distant. And I'm sure you would, or TAP and News and Sentinel would probably just assume have their own interview with you. When is training gonna be held?
Training for early voting workers is normally just done beforehand.
Like in the room?
And then the other sites are always just poll worker training, so we will schedule those. Hopefully, if this is approved, we'll send out notices tomorrow with all the information on it and ask for the poll workers to send back the information that they can work and which days they can work. I mean, we might have the case where somebody can work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday because they're off,
Everybody's on.
but not
We have
every.
no agenda.
Well, there's still some working,
Amen.
different locations, yeah, but some of the retired people don't wanna work that many days in a row either. So it's gonna be an organization to sit down and try to get everybody, to make sure that there's enough poll workers in every location to cover it and to keep lines moving.
The courthouse will still be set up the way it's always been set up.
It's
Election.
set up over here, yes, sir.
Well, you'll do early vote here, but on election night, we'll continue with the same.
That's what I
Correct.
meant, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
No, I understood.
But this will also be, and we have a lot of people show up on a normal election day here that we have to tell go to their precincts, but
But now they'll be
we
able
will
to.
keep this open, so,
And we'll still have Chris there manning the computers and
yes.
everything else.
I'd like to,
We can, and that's one of those, this is a little different this year because, it's a new software with the new equipment, and where we've always had a direct connect computer out in the lobby, that's not available to us. At this point in time, we can't do a shared, so Chris has already been working on ways to figure out how to do a share out in the lobby. Honestly, it's one of those, if you wanted to do that over here,
yeah, we've got lots of good stuff over here. I really, the praise goes out to Chris Whitaker with our IT department for helping us all.
Good job, Chris.
You would think, I'm looking at the early vote locations, and based upon voters, Vienna Community Building will probably be busy. Williamstown has good turnout.
I can tell you Saturday, I was putting in absentee ballots that were returned. Sunday, one of those days. And the number of them from Williamstown, I think half the people have already voted.
They're skewed at the 65 plus, right?
And you have a
Do you think,
contested mayor,
either-
contested mayor's race there too.
Do you think either PHS Catholic would be a good addition as well as WVP? Have two more, one in North End and one out that way? We have enough machines.
We have enough machines. Other than WVUP area, my other thought was maybe the Waverly area. Most of those early vote in Williamstown. So, I mean, I've looked at that and honestly, probably by Monday, I can give you breakdowns of which precincts have requested absentee ballots and the return on those, on the precinct levels.
Just looking at the dates, so we're gonna set this as our guidance with the ability to add additional precincts if necessary.
Yes, sir. I know Harrison County, when they did, she's breaking it out, so magisterial, like her magisterial district day, she's having 7 precincts that go to that, just one location there in each magisterial district. And she's got seven locations. They're about the same size as we are, 7 magisterial districts, so.
So we're looking at 5 locations with the ability to maybe pop a couple more on,
Yes, sir.
and that's based on your poll workers and.
Based on poll workers, and based on turnout.
Correct.
Because, I mean, early voting should give us a good indication of what election day is gonna be.
Yeah, we wanna make sure we get everybody.
Yes, sir.
And make sure that we continue to be socially distanced, and that your poll workers are gonna become 6-foot tape measurers. And so we'll be, as far as the machines, we're gonna preset those up, right?
Yes, sir.
And then the day before the election, they'll pick up their bags.
Well,
Or you're just gonna have them go out.
actually, my plan is have at least one employee at the locations, so that every night they can seal the ballot box, have two of the other poll workers sign off on it. It gets delivered back here to the courthouse to be under lock
Oh, I
and key.
get it. So our
And then we
early
get
vote
it.
locations are already set up, so there isn't, we're not gonna rent a tent then, are we?
We're not gonna rent a tent, no, sir.
So
Um,
you were not being honest when you said it's gonna be the same as the last election.
Oh,
I was excited for the tent.
well,
Okay, so we don't have to worry about a tent,
no, so.
and Melvin's gonna help deliver machines.
Well, Melvin might with the call
Well-
and asking, but Todd will.
Todd. So you've got a
Yes,
plan
sir.
for how the machines get to the precincts in advance
Yes.
of early vote.
And Chris is, like I said, again, Chris runs his butt off the day before to make sure everything's set up and working correctly too.
We don't want to disenfranchise any voter because they're concerned about COVID. We sent out a letter to every registered voter saying you can request a absentee ballot with no fault.
We've had a lot of phone calls of people saying, when's the last day I can turn this in? Yeah, we want to see if it's going to be open. We'd prefer to vote in person, but when's the last day that we can turn it in? So the way things are still going, I kind of expect a rush at the end of May of absentee ballot requests.
Okay.
And, you know, it's one of those, last night I read
Your
it.
concerns,
I have some, when you get done.
please.
Just a couple things. Mark, I'm not sure if you said, what hours are we actually going to be opening on the satellite areas?
During normal early voting days, the second through the sixth, it is normal courthouse hours. So the Monday through Friday would be 8:30 to 4:30, and then on Saturday, it's set by state code to be 9 to 5. Election day is 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m.
I'm sorry, 6:30 to,
6:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m.
okay,
on election day.
okay. And because we're gonna be up there longer this year than normal, are you having a maintenance crew to come in every evening to take care of that, or are we gonna be doing that, or?
That's kind of the reason I'd like to keep an employee available. Actually, there's two reasons I would like to try to keep employees there. One is to make sure everything flows well, that they can bring equipment back, that they can spray disinfectant every day. And I think it will cut out provisionals, because if you walk in and say, I moved, one of the employees can look it up and go, all right, you're supposed to be in precinct this. We can't change your address at that point in time. You can sign a change of address form, but we can make sure that you vote in the correct precinct, which is going to cut down on our number of provisionals.
Okay,
So,
and as far as the actual upkeep of the room itself, I mean, let's say you have a mess that needs to be cleaned up. I mean, we'll work with you, I just
Yeah.
wanna make sure, because our guys come to work before you'll open. So we can, clean it up some or polish it a little for you, but are you gonna have a maintenance crew, or is that something that we'll be doing?
I hadn't got that far.
Okay, all
Well, I
right.
don't think there's really.
I mean, other than
the
trash
food-
from their mills, I mean, that should be about it. Q-tips.
Yeah, and then we're gonna have to march 6-foot increments. Probably, more than likely.
We still can't hear Mark.
Mark, well,
Well, you should have said something when he was talking 10 minutes ago, but anyway.
Okay, and my last question is, would it be possible to have you come up and just make sure that our Wi-Fi is still, everything you need for all the machines and everything?
Yes.
Touch base with
The
our
machines
IT
aren't
guy.
on
Yeah.
Wi-Fi,
the
just
machine-
the poll
yeah,
book.
the only thing that's gonna be on Wi-Fi would be the laptops that they're using to register, to, give the voters credit, to make sure that they're in the right location and everything.
Just wanna make sure we have
So,
whatever requirements
yeah.
you need.
And we've also got backups in place too, in case something doesn't happen.
in case something goes down.
All right, just wanna make sure we have whatever you need, all right?
Definitely.
Okay,
Yeah, none of the election equipment is connected to the internet or anything else, so no Wi-Fi.
okay.
I'll make sure that's clear.
So the new process, we'll see it demoed on Monday, is the poll worker will take them to a machine with a card.
With your ballot, yes.
And they will insert that into the machine, select your precinct, walk away, allow you to vote, then you will take your card and walk it back up, and then it'll go into a scanner.
You walk it over to the scanner. There will be 2 poll clerks there that are checking the ballot to make sure that it's the correct ballot and signed. That's not something.
I'm not
carried in.
gonna wad it up
Yeah.
beforehand,
And then they drop it into, and then the voter drops it into the scanner.
and then it goes into a bucket.
It drops into a ballot box, yes, sir.
Yeah, ballot box. And then that gives us our paper trail, but canvassing the ballots, oh my God, we're gonna be here all day for multiple days.
Well, we can sort those by precinct, because we'll have precinct total because they're still precinct specific.
Right, then you'll have to break down the ballot cards by precinct.
Yes.
Fun days ahead.
But
Because
the
every
can-
ballot box will have every precinct in it.
Yes.
And so finding the 50 from Williamstown's precinct is gonna involve every single ballot box.
Or we could canvass one location.
Yeah, that probably is better. Well, if we break it down, but will the ballot box remain in place overnight in Vienna Community Building, or will it be collected and brought?
I want to collect it and brought back here. I want it sealed with numbered seals and brought back here.
So we
And then
can
the
break
next
it down.
day, You have a new.
When we go to canvas, if we could canvas, well, we pulled June 3rd, Williamstown Elementary, we'll canvas that box. See what I mean?
I do.
I'm just trying to
Okay.
think how this stack,
Well-
if it's gonna be this tall, we boil it down to here.
We'd have to close the polls in order to do that, because each
The
location,
total on
each
the-
scanner has got, it's gonna keep a running total. unless we
There's
close the
some
polls.
mechanics we'll have to work out.
Canvassing, I do think will be much easier because of the ballot layout now, because you either have an absentee ballot that you have in front of you that's, you can see, that's a lot better than, a lot of the problems that we've had in the past is when somebody's voted and then they canceled that vote and voted
On
for
the
somebody
roll.
else. You have it and you only see the people that were actually voted for.
Okay. Mr. Sufer, questions from the administrator or city of Williamstown?
No, I mean, that's a change in Williamstown because they're used to going up to the city building, so we really need to make sure we get the word out.
Okay.
We need to vote on this too, so you guys. I'm sure he needs an order, don't you?
Yes.
How would you like the order to read? The county commission authorizes, to have 4 or more early satellite locations beginning June 2nd, early vote March 27th, election day June 9th,
Election day, June 9th, be combining of precincts.
and combining of the precincts.
Yes.
That's how the
I'll
order, you wanna make that
I'll
motion?
make that motion.
Bob, you want a seconder?
And can we add,
Second it.
we'll adjust as necessary.
I was gonna put ability to add additional
Yeah.
precincts. in.
I'll make it
Okay, that's
unanimous. In uncharted territory, folks.
You know,
But my 2 sons both would like to work the polls, so I'll give you their
Early.
contact information.
when we had a discussion with the Secretary of State about this, he said, you know, about it going all absentee. You know, he kept saying, and he keeps saying that that broke the state of Washington when they did it, because, you know, just things that they hadn't thought of or whatever. But right now, we're running to elections. Absentee, I mean, which is greater than we've ever had, plus trying to prepare for in-person also.
Do you expect to have a representative from the Secretary of State's office present? They have in the past, once in a while, drop in.
They usually show up on election day and go and check the precinct to see if everything is set up the way it's supposed to be.
Very good.
Well, we might get Mac himself up here. He'll start his morning in wood.
Only if he has to take down the signs.
This is all new territory. There's no real intel we can provide other than we'll get more than 9,000 voters and probably less than 27,000. 4,000 responses to absentee will climb over time. We have 4 satellites and we may add more. But we remain open to making changes that will give people ballot access.
Yes.
And, there's a lot of people out there like me who's voted in every single election since they were 18 and don't want to see their streak broke. I've come close a few times, but I've been willing to stand at Greenmont and wait my turn like a good boy. But I do like to vote inside a precinct on election day. It feels interesting.
I've early voted one time in my life. Other than that, it's been precinct and election day.
Well, any more questions? Looks like we've got a good plan. Anything else for the good of the order? We have Sheriff Stevens joined us. Sick and tired of trying to listen to us over the phone, I bet.
Correct.
Oh, what else is going on, Marty?
Started the replacement of the stairway in the bell tower, so it's completely scaffolded. We'll have a cart or a trailer and a truck will be parked next to the courthouse for the next week, right across from where Pat's office parks.
What are the assessors gonna do without their Princess parking?
They'll actually, well, they're not using very much gas right now, so they should be okay. But they'll take up the handicap space forward to the curve, and there will still be a handicap space on that side of the building, so I'm not taking up all of it.